Hello and welcome to our next step in our journey through Twelfth Night as we move into Act 2. Very exciting. Here we are. So if we find the pointer, here we go. Act 2, Scene 1. You could have guessed that anyway. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Look at my other videos. All the other good things that you all know and love. Sorry about the weird windy noise in the background. That's not me, I should add. Honestly. Anyway. Ooh, it's a ghost. Anyway, so into Act 2, Scene 1. So, interesting character, actually. Minor character introduced here, secondary character, but Antonio. Quite a significant character, quite interesting as well. And Sebastian, of course, remember, this is the brother that is supposedly dead. He's not dead! Hooray! Sebastian is not actually dead. So he is the twin of Viola. And a bit of context you may or may not know, Shakespeare had, well, 3 children, and 2 of them were twins. There was a boy and a girl. And the boy died. And it seems to be, I think, in this play, a bit of wish fulfillment, a tragic bit of backstory in Shakespeare's own life, writing away in the background. He's interested in twins because he had twins himself, but one of his children died. So I think there's a bit of a dark undercurrent to what is otherwise quite a light-hearted play in many ways. I say that though, but there's definitely moments of darkness here, or darkly comic moments maybe. Anyway, I am wittering on too much. And I really need to get on with it, don't I? So, here is Antonio. Will you stay no longer, nor will you, not that I go with you. Notice that Antonio and Sebastian's situation here is very similar to what Viola's discussion was like with the sea captain when she was rescued at the start. So, Sebastian's been in Illyria for longer than... for the same amount of time that Viola has actually, but we haven't actually met up with him until this point. Then there's a bit here with, I've just put this in as an astrology reference. My stars shine darkly over me. He thinks his fortunes aren't going so well. So really, says Antonio, it's best you don't hang around with me. You know, you've been great friend. I'll say more about that soon. But for your own safety, it's best for you to leave me now. We're bad recommends for your love to lay any of them on you. He doesn't want any kind of badness to rub off on Antonio. Let me know of you whither you are bound and where you're going. No, Suso, my determinate voyage is mere extravagancy, but I perceive in you so excellent a touch of modesty that you will not extort from me what I'm wanting to keep in. So basically, I find this bit a bit weird, really. There's not a massive purpose to what Sebastian's doing. Sebastian's ended up in Illyria and decides to, I'm just going to look around. Personally, I don't find this amazingly convincing. In some ways you think, well, wouldn't you be trying to get back home secretly or something? So anyway, let's not think too hard about it. It is meant to be a comedy. It's meant to be lighter. Let's not think too hard. That's my fault. You must know of me then, Antonio. My name is Sebastian, which I called Rodrigo. So in another interesting parallel to Viola, Rodrigo has been operating under a false name himself. And this is the only time it's ever mentioned. So Rodrigo has been Sebastian's false persona. But you see, there's another parallel with Viola here. So more about disguise. Obviously, the idea of twins. It's all kind of matching up, isn't it, there? Then my father was that Sebastian of Messalene. So that means his dad was also called Sebastian. And he's a noble of Messalene, which is another country. And he would have drowned, but you, sir, altered that. For some hour before you took me from the breach of the sea, my sister drowned. So Antonio rescued Sebastian in a similar way to the way that the sea captain rescued Viola. And there's dramatic irony here as well, because we know that Viola has survived, and obviously Sebastian doesn't. And obviously, Viola doesn't know that Sebastian survived. And yeah, lots of dramatic irony, basically. So, pardon me, sir, your bad entertainment. I've seen that line delivered, whereas it's the idea of it being the bad entertainment that he is providing. Pardon me, sir. You're bad, as in you are bad entertainment. But anyway, it's written here as you're bad entertainment, as in I feel. It basically means I feel sorry for all the bad things that you've had to go through, which makes more sense. So I don't know whether that's in different versions, but anyway. Oh, good Antonio, forgive me your trouble. If you will not murder me for my love, let me be your servant. Now, I'll get onto this in a later scene, but there are plenty of readings of Twelfth Night in terms of Antonio and Sebastian's relationship, and it's totally valid to have a gay reading of the relationship of Antonio and Sebastian. They do seem very close. There's plenty of lines that you could interpret as in the idea of them of having a very close, possibly even sexual relationship. And there's various contextual reasons as well why that's actually potentially plausible. I mean, it's plausible anyway, just the fact that it just could be the nature of their relationship. It's just absolutely plausible anyway. But there's extra details that we can talk about which come in later really, or maybe I'll say it now anyway. But Antonio is known as a pirate in this society of Illyria. And so with pirates, actually same-sex relationships were actually really common, more common than history books or films would actually give you the impression of. And there is lots of historical evidence of this. And it seems totally feasible that Antonio is in love with Sebastian. Whether Sebastian's in love with Antonio is also open to interpretation as well. I was getting mixed up myself there as well. But it's really interesting, and yeah, we'll talk more about it later as well, but for now it's just introduced as a character. But look out for it, see what you think. If you ship Sebastian and Antonio, then you're absolutely more than welcome to. Alternatively, you can just read it as Antonio is a devoted friend, and because he sees himself as lower class than Sebastian, he accepts his place in society to serve him, and he's devoted to him in that way. You can have a kind of vanilla reading of it if you want to go down that route as well. It works. Different versions will emphasise this relationship in different ways. So it all works. It's all down to you. You can interpret it in the way that you want to interpret it. I think the idea of shipping them is more interesting. I think it adds an extra dimension to the play, and it fits in with the ideas of crossing boundaries and ideas about gender and identity and love, and it just seems to fit in and make it more interesting. But as I say, you can interpret it how you like. Then, if you will not murder me for my love, let me be your servant. If you will not undo what you have done, that is, kill him who you have recovered, desire it not. So it really hurt. If you please don't come with me. It really upsets me if you come with me. I want you to be safe. I am so near the manners of my mother that upon the least occasion mine eyes will tell tales of me. So he says I'm going to cry and I'm similar to my mother in that way. That's another good one for crossing gender boundaries as well, and maybe subverting stereotypes of ideas of masculinity from Sebastian there. So he's going off in his little tourist thing. He's going to go to Count Orsino's court and have a look around. Doesn't really make a lot of sense apart from it works in terms of the narrative where Shakespeare is going to bring these characters together again. It makes total sense in that way. But logically, I don't know. I don't think it makes a huge amount of sense. But anyway, you don't need to write about that. Then I have many enemies in Orsino's court. I didn't highlight that for some reason. Else would I very shortly see there. But come what may, I do adore thee so that danger shall seem sport, and I will go. So Antonio is prepared to risk his life. He's a wanted man because he is perceived as a pirate. We find that out later on. He's perceived as a pirate in Illyria, so he's prepared to risk his life to follow and protect Sebastian. Again, that level of devotion, it's up to you how far you see that relationship. As I say, I've already said my view on it. You're totally entitled to your own, of course. You are welcome to have your own. Anyway, thank you for listening, and tune into the next one. Like, comment, subscribe, notification bell if you're still listening. Thank you, and goodbye.